Welcome back. Today we are going to be going over the run sheets. Obviously, we'll go into the run sheets folder, and we can see at the top here that we have a folder for each month. To create a new folder for that month, basically you would just right-click, select New Folder, and we want to title this in a way that makes sure that everything stays in the correct order. So if we're going to make a new folder for October, which is perfectly fine, you can work as far as ahead as you need to be. So if you sell an ad, several months in advance, you can go ahead and put that in there, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to schedule it. So for October, we put the 10 for the number of the month. Then we want to, in all caps, spell out October 2019. Create, and you can see that it'll come to the right of September, keeping everything in order, easy to find what month you're looking for. Within each month, there will be additional folders for each week. So if we go into August here, we can see that the first week that you guys will use is already created for 8/7. To make the following week, you would just, again, right-click, New Folder. You can title it 8/14/19. Within each folder, there will be basically our different run sheets. So again, to navigate, we're going to go back up to the run sheets folder, and you can see that there is several different sheets under here, all starting with the word master. Master basically is just a template. What we use these as a starting point. Each time that we open one, we're going to make sure that we make a copy of it. So let's start off with the master display, which is basically your display ads. So we'll start off with that. We'll double click to open it. And with the master display, what we'll want to do is go ahead and set up any TFNs on here. So if you have, and TFN is till further notice, so if you have any ads that run weekly, we'll go ahead and add those into the master. That way you don't have to add them every single weekend, and it'll take some time off your hands for you. So, but as of right now, we don't have anything. We'll add those in a little bit later. What we want to do is, with the master display, is we want to make a copy of it by going to File, Make a Copy. And you want to make sure that you do this. If you start adding things into the master display, you'll have those show up the following week, and you'll have to delete them. And so it's easy to make sure that we do this right away. For the name, what we were going to want to call these is, you can delete the copy of master and display, and we'll use the first week of August, 8/17/19. We also want to make sure, so that's the name of the document. We want to make sure that we save it in that August 7th folder. To do that, we select folders, and we can see here these were the months that we had just seen with the October, that newest one that we created. So you want to select the arrow next to the August one, and then again the August 7th, again select the arrow next to it, and then hit select. Okay, then we'll hit OK. We'll wait for that to generate, which usually takes a couple of seconds. And as soon as that pops up, we can close this master display. As you can see, it was a new tab that came up. So go ahead and close the original master display so we don't accidentally touch it. And as you can see up here, you always want to make sure that you're on the correct date. So we can see 8/7. It also will display it right here. Basically our run sheet should be pretty similar to what you guys are already using. Advertiser, that is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to make sure that the advertiser is the name of the business or whoever is going to be getting the bill. So for something like Rogers Pest Control, that's pretty obvious that we would be calling that, what we would be calling that would be Rogers Pest Control. And then you'd put in the appropriate size. I'm just going to make one up as 2x4. The seller, or SR, stands for sales representative. You will put the initials in for here. And so for, let's say this is a house ad, we would put H. We want to put it in the amount, and anytime for the amount, this is the total amount that the ad is going to cost. Even if you're adding on like color or internet, you want to make sure that in the amount, this is the total amount. So let's say that this ad cost $100. And then these next boxes are basically for your newspapers. We have Wayne County Banner, Reynolds County. Right here we have Mountain Echo. If there's additional papers, we can always add these in. So what you're going to want to do is put X's for which paper. So if this Rogers Pest Control runs in Wayne County and Reynolds County, we'll put an X. Does not run in Mountain Echo, so we will leave that blank. Pickup date. This is if the ad had 0 changes to it, and you're literally picking up the ad from a previous week. So if this was an ad that ran on 7/1 of 19, we'll go ahead and put that in. This is more for production notes, but again, it will be useful for them. Color. If the ad is in color, we want to make sure that we put an X in there. And then what I also like to do is I like to highlight this. I like to highlight this, which you can do by going up to this fill color up here, and we usually use green for color. This way it stands out. We know that this ad is in color. If the ad runs on the internet, you will also put an X there. And again, this is one that we highlight. We use the teal or light blue. That way they kind of stand out, so we know. So for production purposes, we know exactly what needs to run in color, what needs to go on the internet. Address. This is going to be the billing address. You do not need to fill this out for everybody if we already have the address. This is for new customers or for anybody that we don't have an address. So let's assume that this Rogers Pest Control. Well, actually, let's remove the pickup date. Let's assume that this is a new advertiser that never advertised with us. We're going to put 100 East Main Street. We want to make sure that we also put the city, state, and zip code, which I apologize, I do not know the zip code off the top of my head for Piedmont, but we want to make sure that we put basically everything in there. Makes our job from accounting much easier. The last thing is billing notes. If you want something specifically said in the billing notes, such as make good, or let's say for Rogers Pest Control, let's say this is their 2nd anniversary or grand opening. We'll put grand opening, and anything that you write on this billing notes, I will add onto their bill. So if this week it's a grand opening and next week it's a 50% discount, and they want to make sure on their bill that they can see which ad is which, you can put that in there, and like I said, we will add that onto the bill. The last column here is the paid. If they prepaid, you can put an X, or if they prepaid with a check, you can put check number, whatever it may have been. If they need to be billed, you can just leave it blank. You don't need to add bill on every single one. So we'll come back to the left here, and again, and you just basically go down the line. Let's say Joe's Diner is our next one. This is a 3x8. Let's say that Addison sold this one. You can type in AG for Addison Gibson. Say the ad is $200, and this runs in all 3 of our papers. No pickup date, not in color, but it did run on the internet. They've advertised before, so we can leave that blank. There's no billing notes or anything else. Continue down. You can enter to go back down, and again, you would just continue to do this. And one thing you'll notice, so once we fill all this out, at the bottom, it does add up all your totals. So if I scroll down, and we have about 69 slots here, but we can see that Addison here, AG, sold $200 worth, and our house account sold $100 worth. Gives us a total of this. So this way, and this adds as you go. So at any point, you can see that Addison sold X amount. So for sales rep, if you're trying to figure out your commission or how many sales you made that week, you can add it up like that. And then also we can see how much we total made. So if you do have specific goals, you can use this as a tool. I also use this as kind of a double check when creating sales reports. And once we are finished with this, the good thing about it is you do not need to save it. You can see in the top corner here, it says all changes saved in Drive. And this thing basically saves every few seconds for you automatically. After a time goes by, you'll be able to see the last time that a change was made there. So you can see it, and you can see if I stand on top of this, it says the last edit was seconds ago. If it was made a week ago, it'll tell me last, and it'll give me the time that it was changed. So we will, once we are done filling this out, we will go ahead and close this. And we can see that there's also multiple different so that's just the display. We have basically a classifieds. So if we need to open up a classified, again, this is a master file. So we want to make sure that we go to, and sometimes you have to give it a moment to load. Usually it's pretty quick, but file, make a copy. Again, we will call this classifieds 8719. Make sure that we select the folder that it goes into. If it doesn't load here, you just need to go back and go forward, go to 887. We will be able to see the display that we had here previously. Go ahead and hit select, hit OK. It'll create the new one for us. We can close the old one. Okay, so for a classified, same kind of thing where we need to add in the advertiser, ad size, the sales rep, the amount, which papers it goes in for the runs. If we know that they are, so let's say that Herald Publications is running a classified ad, so you can put, if you guys keep word count, or you can just put words, but because it's a house count, it'll be house, $20. It's going to run our classifieds running all of them. Let's say that this runs 4 times. So what we'll do is 1 of 4. So this is the first of 4. So the following week, we would change this to 2 of 4, or 3 of 4, and 4 of 4, and so on. So we want to make sure in the amount, that's the weekly amount, not the total amount. Again, we'll fill in the address and billing notes when we are done. We can close it, hit save. And we have basically different run sheets for, we have classifieds, we have a display, we have one for inserts, obituaries and card of thanks, a printing one, and a special section. So if you're doing a specific section such as Easter or graduation or whatever your section may be, you can put it on a separate run sheet. We can also now go back in to the August folder here, find this week. We can see that these were the 2 that we made. And so as you need to add to it, we'll open it back up, and you can start adding to it as you need to. And then again, when you are finished making your changes to it, go ahead and close it. And that pretty much wraps up the tutorial for run sheets.